So today while I was at the grocery store, I noticed that strawberries were on sale. So I thought, what a perfect time to make strawberry preserves. So I bought 3 pounds and headed right home with them. Let's get started. First thing I'm going to do to get ready is I'm going to take my glass jars and lids and I'm going to just boil them for a few minutes so that they're sterilized. So now I just want to clean my strawberries. I have about a gallon of water inside a mixing bowl. I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of white vinegar, and then I'm just going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And we're going to put the strawberries in here. And I'll move them around for a little bit and just make sure that they're nice and clean, that they don't have any debris. You certainly do not want any fruits that are beginning to rot or show signs of aging, because that will spoil your jam and that will actually promote them to go bad quickly. So you definitely don't want that. So now I just want to show you how I'm going to cut and clean these. I have 2 very simple kitchen tools today. One of them is a strawberry huller, and this basically was designed so that you can go around the outside of the stem and get that little piece also inside that I told you about, which is that white part that doesn't taste very well, so we'll discard that. And then I have a paring knife, and all I'm going to do is quarter them and stick them in a clean bowl. And I'm going to do that with all of these. Sometimes you might find it just easier to take off the green part and then just go around it with your knife. Whatever works for you. I realize not everyone has one of these, and even if you have one, you may not find that to be the most effective way, so you can just do it that way. And that's it. I'm going to get all of these done, and then we're going to get started. So we have all of our strawberries, they're all cut, and I have 3 cups of granulated sugar, and then I have that package of Shore Gels, and all I'm going to do is take the Shore Gel in a separate bowl, and this is all on the instructions. When you use the Shore Gel, it's all inside there. You want to just follow the instructions for the cooked recipe of the jam, because that's what we're doing, actually preserves. And I'm just going to mix this really quickly. Put that to the side. Now we have to mash the strawberries. You can use whatever you want to mash it. You can use a potato masher, or you can use any other kind of masher that you have. So that's all I'm going to do is just give them a quick mash. I don't want to completely puree them, so that's why I'm not putting them in my blender. But I do want to mash them up just a little bit so that they cook down a little bit easier. Okay, so this is what we're looking for, and you see all of the juices are starting to gather, and we're ready now to go ahead and get this on the stove. Okay, so got the gas on, and I'm using my saucier, and I'm just going to put these strawberries in. Get all of that beautiful strawberry juice down there on the bottom. And now we're just looking to bring them up to a boil. And I see a piece of strawberry green in there. No matter how hard you try, sometimes those greens just kind of hold on. So if you see any, just pull them out. And now I'm just going to add about 1/3 cup of water. That's all the water that we're going to use, and it's really going to cook out. The purpose of the water really is to just help the strawberries start to break down, and it's also going to help to dissolve the sugar. Okay, now as it's going to come to a boil, this is the Shore Gel and the small amount of regular sugar that I added to it. And we're going to stir that in, make sure it's completely mixed and dissolved, and then we're going to allow it to come to a full rolling boil for a couple of minutes, and then we'll add the rest of the sugar. Oh, and there's another stem. Now let's see, get that out. Okay, got it. All right, we're going to wait for it it to come to a full rolling boil. And a full rolling boil will mean that even though while I'm stirring it, it's still gonna continue to boil. So just be very careful right now because hot sugar is like lava and you do not wanna get that on your skin. So we are at the stage where this is at a rolling boil, and you know that because even while I'm stirring, it is still boiling. Now you see those impurities on top? That's gonna happen because we're cooking with fruit. There is a suggestion in the instructions for the Sure Gel that if that foam up top bothers you, you can put some butter or margarine in there to prevent it. I'm gonna pass on that. If I want butter with my jam, it'll be on my toast, but I don't think I need to put it in the actual jam. So now we're gonna get the rest of the sugar and we're gonna get that incorporated as well and finish this up. Before I do, I'm gonna just use a spoon and take some of that foam off of there because those really are impurities from the strawberries and we don't want to put that in the jam. So now we're ready to add the rest of the sugar. This is the remainder of the 3 cups of sugar. And I'm just going to grab my spoon here. I had to take my camera off the tripod because the heat coming from this pan was so intense that I was afraid I was going to melt it. So I'm going to incorporate all of that sugar. I can still feel it down at the bottom, so make sure that you stir it until it's completely distributed, and then as it cooks, it will completely dissolve. And we're going to let this cook now for about 5 more minutes, and I can feel the consistency change as I'm stirring it. As the sugar is dissolving, it's actually becoming a little bit looser. And I'm looking at the volume here, and I'm hoping that I sterilized enough jars. If not, we can always sterilize a few more and do a second round of those. And I'll do the same thing. I'll let it come back to a rolling boil, and I will let it cook for 5 minutes. And again, I will strain off any more impurities that I see start to gather. It'll take a few minutes for this to come back to that rolling boil. Okay, so we are back to a rolling boil, and you want to watch your flame on this. As soon as it comes back up to a boil, you want to turn it down a little bit and let it boil for about a minute. And then we're going to turn it off, and that's where we're at now. I'm just going to turn the gas off. And you want to make sure that you do this in a pan that is big enough or a pot that's big enough. I probably could have done this in a little pot that was a little bit larger than the one that I used, but it worked out. A couple more strawberries and I wouldn't have had enough room in here. So I'm going to grab those jars and we're going to ladle the contents into the jars, and then I'm going to go ahead and get my canning pot ready. Okay, so I have my jars. I got 2 more jars because I think I'm going to need them. And I have my funnel and a ladle. And again, be careful because this is really hot. And we're just going to ladle them in. And we're going to stop when we get to about 1/4 of an inch from the lid. Or should I say from the top of the jar. So that's really perfect there. And we'll do this with the rest of these. And then we're going to just put them to the side while we get them all done. And then I'm going to get them in my pressure cooker. I'm going to give them a stir in between each ladleful so that you get the same amount of chunky fruit in each jar. We'll get at least 1 more, maybe more. Okay, we're good. I'm gonna get 1 more small jar, but I think these jars are too big for what I have left. So one thing that you want to do when you're done, as with all canning projects, is you want to clean away anything that might have spilled around the outside or the lid of the jar and on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and clean these all up, and then I'm going to get them inside my canning pot, which I have ready over here, and we'll talk a little bit about the canning process. Okay, so we're ready now to get our jars inside the canner. And if you are not familiar with canning, or if you've never canned before, I urge you to do some research. We're not really going to cover canning now in great detail, but I will tell you that the purpose of canning is to sterilize the food that's inside the jars, cook it to a high enough temperature so that it can be preserved and have a longer shelf life. What you definitely want to make sure is that when you put the lids on, you want them on, but you don't want them tied, twisted tightly, because you want the air that's inside the jar to be able to escape. It's what makes it airtight. And when it's done, you'll notice that little lid right there that pops up and down. That will be depressed inward as the jars start to cool, as the air escapes from the jar. And then when they're cooled completely, then you can tighten the lid on the jar. Most of the time people use bell jars, ball jars, and they'll can in those. But like I said, I like to recycle. I don't recommend you use jars, or should I say reuse jars, unless you've done this before and you're pretty well versed at what your finished jar should look like when you're done. These are going to stay in the refrigerator anyway, and they don't really last very long in my house. They go pretty quickly, and so I'm confident that these will be just fine. So I'm going to lower these into the water. Right now they're hanging on, the racks are lifted so I can put them in, but I'm going to lower them into water, and I'm going to put the lid on and set the timer and follow the instructions to jar these. So it's been 10 minutes. Release some of the pressure in the pot, and then I'm going to take the lid off and get them on a rack so that they can cool. So I took the lid off, and I just want to show you. You see the air bubbles coming to the top? That's the air leaving the jar from the pressure that was created inside the jar itself. So we know that they're going to seal really nicely based on that. Okay, we've removed these from the pot, and we've got them on a wire rack, and we're going to let them cool overnight. Tomorrow I will check them and make sure that all of the toppers depressed. Then I'll know that they were properly sealed, and they'll be good in the closet for about a year, or in the refrigerator pretty much indefinitely. Not that they'll last that long in my house. We use a lot of jelly in my house because we love peanut butter and jelly especially. I'll make cookies with it, and the possibilities are endless. Also, if you wanted to get fancy, you could make some homemade labels. Stick a label on the jar, give these as gifts around the holidays. Who doesn't love a homemade gift, especially one that you can eat? All right, so tomorrow morning, we're gonna crack into one of these and see how they came out. Hi everyone. So it's been 24 hours and our preserves are ready. So I'm gonna crack the lid open on this and let you see how they came out. Okay, we are ready. I have some crackers here with just a little bit of peanut butter on them. And I'm gonna open this jar, but I want you to listen and I want you to see what happens when I crack it open. Did you hear that? That is a perfectly sealed jar. And I'm just gonna give it a little stir. I'm gonna show you the consistency. Absolutely beautiful, look at that. Wow, I cannot wait. Can you see it? I can't wait to try it. I'm gonna put some on each of these. Beautiful chunks. Look how nice and chunky that is. But it's still very loose, so it's not completely congealed, which is one of the things that makes this a little bit different than jelly. And that's what makes it preserves, that it has big chunky pieces of fruit throughout. So, cheers, let's try it. Oh wow, that is so really delicious. Wow, okay, so I'll show you now. If I put the lid back on, you definitely need to keep this in the refrigerator now once you pop that lid. But on the ones that have not been opened yet, you see the lid has been depressed, which means it's still airtight. Not airtight. Airtight. That's it, guys. That was pretty simple. I urge you to get in the kitchen and try these. Like I said, these would make really good gifts. You make some cute labels for them. You can even use a hot glue gun and put some nice fabric around the outside and a little ribbon. They make wonderful gifts, especially around the holidays. Okay, that's it. That is our strawberry preserves. I hope you enjoyed watching us make it as much as we enjoyed making it. In the meantime, we'd love for you to check us out on Facebook at Aunt Susie's Kitchen, on Instagram, Aunt Susie's Kitchen, and of course here on YouTube. Hit the like button and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Let us know you were here, and if you hit the little notification bell, you'll never miss a video. That's it for now, guys. Thanks for coming by, and remember, there's always something good cooking in Aunt Susie's Kitchen. Ciao for now.